Okay, we had a viewer contact me and ask about the flow meters. He watched one of the videos and was asking a few questions, so I'm going to show a little bit about that. Here are a few different flow meters here. We probably have, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably 10 or so of these flow meters laying around. This one here is a 0 to 100 gallons per minute. 3,000 psi. This one's a 0 to 5 gallons a minute. And the most common one is a 0 to 30 gallons a minute. Right here, that's on this little bracket system. Now, this is done. This has a check valve in it, and then it's got 2 quick disconnects here. And what that's for is we can pop these hoses on here. If they put the hoses wrong, this check valve will dump it back so it doesn't break anything. Okay, you got this here, and then we got a gauge on it, a 0 to 3,000 gauge, and a needle valve here to choke it off. And so you're going to come in from your pump. It's going to go in here. You're going to have a 3/4 hose or 1-inch hose, whatever you have, several feet on both ends. You pop it in, and then you're going to hook it in there, and then take your needle valve, open it all the way up, and then you'll get the flow going through here, and you'll be able to see it on the flow meter here. All right, so that's one example. And like I said, this one has a check valve in case they put it wrong, it'll save it from screwing up. And then these are some various needle valves here with gauges for different configurations. You can use this type. This is a Parker, and I think this is a Parker too. This is the kind that I like using. It's got the handle for choking it off and making the pressure come up. So I'm kind of explaining, we do have one video, a test. We don't get a lot of tests in the field. Sometimes we do, and we don't have a camera there. We'll try to get one. I've only done one a while back on a truck. But I'll show you here. There's some examples. Now, if you're a mechanic and you need one of these, for something like this, it's $1,000+ to have this in your truck or your toolbox. So you can try to get the company to buy it and have it there. Like, for instance, if you have a bunch of trucks, and that's what I did. I went out there with my flow meter and taught the mechanic how to test the pumps on his trucks, because I have like 20 trucks. And I showed him all that, and then he got the supervisors to buy him a unit so he could do it in-house. Okay, and it was over $1,000. It's a Headland flow meter, 0 to 30. You could get a little more. That's the most common. You start getting these 100-gallon-a-minute ones, and it's going to cost you a lot more money for these things. This 5-gallon-a-minute, you could check case drain flow, things like that, or a real small pump. You don't use that real often. Okay, so that's basically that, and I'll show you on the board here a little bit, and then we'll wait and see next time we get a troubleshooting call and we have to use one of these. I'll try to video it, but I made a little drawing on this board here. Okay, so you can see you got the flow coming in. You have your needle valve here. That's the symbol for it. Here's a little star. Okay, now you want that before your flow meter. I don't want to if this was up here, you'd be putting pressure against that plastic flow meter, and they're only good for $3,000. So I put them here, and I put the gauge. When I choke it off, it'll make this gauge rise up. Okay, and that's what you want to see. You're going to back up and see the flow. You're going to see if the pump will keep pushing it through there to keep the flow up. And this is 0 to 30 gallon. That's a Headland. You can look them up. Like I said, by the time you do this whole thing, you're looking at $1,000. It depends what price. They have some other brands too that have these flow meters. You'll have to look. It's not a tool you use all the time. This is specifically for hydraulic testing and checking the pumps out to try to figure out what's going on. 0 to 3,000 gauge. That's all you really need. So you're going to come in when you first do it, open the valve all the way up and check the flow. So say the pump's a 30-gallon-a-minute pump and it's running at that. Okay, So you, depending on what kind of pump, if you have a gear pump, vane pump, or piston pump, they have different levels of efficiency. For instance, a gear pump's like 80% efficient. There's a lot of leakage in between those gears. So when you choke this down, you're going to see if you start at 30 gallons, well, you know, if you're going to choke this down at 2,000 psi, the working pressure, you should be holding about 28 gallons a minute or so. But if you choked it down and it won't hold up to 28 gallons a minute, and it drops way down in this 30 gallon a minute pump and it drops down to 10 gallons a minute, well, your pump's leaking and it's shot basically. If you go up to a vane pump, they're a little more efficient and less leakage, so 90% or whatever, and then you go into the piston, which is more efficient, but you still have leakage in there. But you got to know your parameters. You know, you want to see if that flows up there. So you're trying to eliminate if it's the pump before you pull it off. You want to see if it's holding pressure or not. You know, we'll do some videos on that when we actually do it, when I get something to where we could show you how that works. We have a pump station that has 4 of these flow meters already tied in. I just haven't had something to test on that yet. But that gives you an idea. If you have any more questions about it, or help laying this out, if you're a mechanic or you work for a company where you need this, if you need to check PTO pumps or any other kind of pumps, we'll try to do some things on that. Okay, that'll give you a little basic explanation. Stand by.